Hi and welcome to Fun Swedish. Today we'll talk about hjälpverb, helping verbs, such as kan, få and many others. But what is exactly a hjälpverb? It's a verb that is used with the main verb in the same sentence. Kind of help the main verb to construct a proper sentence. The helping verb usually comes before the main verb. Let's look at an example. Jag kan hjälpa dig. I can help you. In this sentence we have two verbs, kan and hjälpa. Here, kan is the helping verb and hjälpa is the main verb. And hjälpa is the main verb because it kind of is the topic of the sentence. However, we still need the helping verb kan in order to get our message across. A very common mistake is to conjugate or modify both the helping verb and the main verb. You should leave the main verb just like it is, in its basic form, also called the infinitive form in grammar language. The only thing you should change is the helping verb to the tense you want, present or past, for example. Maybe this illustration makes it more clear what I'm talking about. Like you can see in this illustration, we leave the verb äta, to eat, in its basic form, and we don't conjugate it. It's actually the same thing in English. You wouldn't say I can eating. No, you would say I can eat. So again, never change the main verb. Just leave it like it is in its basic form. Hjälpverb, helping verbs, are very common, so we really recommend you to study them since they pop up everywhere. Here's a list of some of the most common helping verbs in Swedish in its present form. Kan, få, behöver, måste, hinner, börjar, slutar, bör. Another important thing to mention is that these helping verbs can also work as just normal verbs when they are not together with another verb in the same sentence. Like in this example. Jag behöver mat. I need food. Here, the verb behöver is just a normal verb, but if you write it together with another verb, then it becomes a helping verb. Like in this example. Jag behöver köpa mat. I need to buy food. Here, behöver is the helping verb and köpa is the main verb. And like we mentioned before, we don't change or modify or conjugate the main verb. We leave it just like it is in its basic form. And here that would be köpa. Another important thing to mention is that in English you very often write out the infinitive mark. For example, to, I need to buy food. The equivalent of to in Swedish would be at. But we skip it almost every time, with some exceptions, together with a helping verb. So you wouldn't say jag behöver att köpa mat. No, we just say jag behöver köpa mat. I need to buy food. But we say I need buy food. Jag behöver köpa mat. Now that you know more what a helping verb is, let's look at 3 of them. Få, kan och vill. And if this video gets more than 500 likes, then we're gonna do part 2 with more helping verbs. Let's start with få. Få is perhaps the trickiest one, since it has so many different meanings. As a noun, ett får, it actually means sheep. We have, for example, the island Fårö in Sweden, which means the island of sheep. And as a verb, it has different meanings depending a bit on the situation. But in general, får can be translated to any of these. Let's look at different examples. When it means get or receive. Jag får min lön den 25 varje månad. I get, receive, my salary the 25th every month. And you can also make a question with får. Får. Do sheep get sheep? And if you want to say får in the past, then it would be this way. Fick or har fått. Jag fick min lön igår. I got my salary yesterday. Jag har inte fått min lön. I haven't received my salary.
Disappointed!
Moving on, the verb få can also be translated to be allowed or not to be allowed to do something. Like in this example. Ursäkta, men du får inte röka här. Excuse me, but you're not allowed to smoke here. And then you could answer, jo, det får jag. Yes, I do. Like, yes, I am allowed to do it. Similar to this, få can also be used to ask permission to do something. A bit like the English word may. Like, may I? You know, very polite. Let's look at some examples. Får jag se? May I see? Kan jag få betala tack? May I pay please? But what we really are saying, can I get the permission to pay please? Får jag bjuda på lite godis? May I offer you some candy? But what we really say is kind of, do I have the permission to offer you candy? So, like you can see, the verb få is a bit tricky, but very, very common in Swedish. And it kind of have this polite feel to it. In our Swedish courses, we always allow our students to ask questions about things they don't really understand. And the verb for is something that usually always come up, and something we always talk about and figure out together. Another way of using for is when you get the chance to do something, or got the opportunity to do something. That can be a way of showing positivity. For example, if you get your flight tickets upgraded. Jag fick åka första klass. I got to travel in first class. But sometimes it's also used as a negative thing, sort of like I had to or I was forced to, when the metro or subway doesn't work. Jag fick åka buss istället. I had to take the bus instead. In a way, this use of jag fick is a little bit passive-aggressive, since you could have said jag var tvungen att åka buss istället. But it's so common now that it kind of lost its passive-aggressive feel to it. That's why we like to use jag fick instead. Or when you get sick the day before your birthday party. Jag fick ställa in festen. I was forced to cancel the party. So, let's move on to our next helping verb. Kan. An easier one, since can works exactly the same as the English can, both in pronunciation and use. The only difference is that we write it with a K instead of a C. And both in English and in Swedish, this verb can be used as a helping verb. For example, jag kan köpa godis nu. I can buy candy now. And if you want to say it in the past, then it would be like this. Jag kunde inte köpa godis idag. Affären var stängd. I couldn't buy candy today. The shop was closed. Jag har inte kunnat äta godis på en hel vecka. I haven't been able to eat candy on a whole week. Our last hjälpverb, vill. Vill is very easy to mix up with the English will. But this is a false friend. Vill means want in Swedish and not will. For example, jag vill äta godis. I want to eat candy. And like we mentioned before, in Swedish we don't put out so often the to, the at, like you do in English. So you should not write jag vill att äta godis. No, you should say jag vill äta godis. You can think that in Swedish we are more direct. We just say I want eat candy. Let's look at how we say vill in the past. Jag ville äta godis igår. I wanted to eat candy yesterday. Jag har velat äta godis hela dagen. I have wanted to eat candy the whole day. So, this was our first introduction to hjälpverb, helping verbs. And in our beginner course, we talk more about helping verbs and how you use them in sentences. You can find more about our courses and how to sign up on our webpage. The link is up here and in the description below. I really recommend you to check them out. Tack för idag, vi ses nästa vecka!